All right. Kicking this off, UFC 309. Undercards I'm not too excited for. First two fights on the main card are a little, not as hypage as you would want for a main pay-per-view. But the last three fights are the cherry on top of like just this mid-Sunday that actually make it worthy of getting on board with. And Bo Nickal versus Paul Craig is the first one that I really am like thinking this is going to probably be predictable, but it's the next chapter at middleweight. And look, I don't blame Paul Craig for taking Bo Nickal over Joe Pyfer. Joe Pyfer called out Paul Craig by name, and Paul Craig signs on the Bo Nickal line. Look, if you're in Paul Craig's shoes, you know your career's on a wind down. Light heavyweight didn't really work out, neither did middleweight. He has lost some very key fights. His grappling's really good. I think his big moment was against Jamal Hill when he was at light heavyweight. He really pulled an upset against Jamal Hill and left one of the most, burned into our mind arm dislocations that we have ever seen in our life. But other than that, you got Johnny Walker, you got Caio Barrio. Anyone with really good striking has given him some serious issues. But once you go two divisions and you're not really getting anywhere, I think you know where it's up to. And you can only take so much damage and lose so many fights. So, Paul Craig would definitely lose to Joe Pyfer, but I think he'd also lose to Bo Nickal. And a lot of people love to cut down Bo Nickal, especially after that Cody Brundage fight. But for Cody Brundage, if you have taken part in any combat sport, any level, put it into perspective, you're outclassed. The idea of offense is not going to be in your mind. Defense and survival, and if you're doing that good in the defense realm, and that's all you have to focus on, you're going to last a long time. Even if you're going against Bo Nickal, now Bo's probably going to catch you eventually and finish you, but you're going to survive as long as you can. So I think Cody Brundage just knew where he was and was just basically going on the defense the entire time and lasted as long as he did. But if you look at Val Woodburn when he fought Bo Nickal, same thing. Grappler by heart, but lacked in the hands. And I think that's where Bo Nickal really capitalized and was really able to showboat how awkward and, unorthodox his striking could really be. And if he brings something like that, when you have, plus a couple more camps to really work on that against someone like Paul Craig who could catch, something in the chin and go to sleep, it's a perfect recipe for Bo Nickal having more ways to win this fight. He's got the Olympic wrestling to stay off the submissions, unless we're wrong somehow. But I just see Bo Nickal coming out on top on this one, and I think we could all see the writing on the wall. Now, it does set up definitely Joe Pyfer versus Bo Nickal. I do not want to see Bo Nickal dodge Joe Pyfer anymore because this fight has to happen. So Bo Nickal, like if he were to call out someone like Caio Barrio or something like that, I feel like you're doing Joe Pyfer a huge disservice. He might even do that, though. In which case, I would be very disappointed. But what else can I do? Not much. But he's definitely not going to be taking on Shara. I mean, he might, but I doubt it because Shara needs to probably face Kevin Holland before he goes up to face Bo Nickal. But this is a pretty obvious door open for middleweight. But at least it closes a bit of a chapter that we've been waiting to be closed for a long time, and that's Bo Nickal getting a ranking next to his name. It's only inevitable. He's only getting better. And he's got the perfect target. But what else is there to say? What else possibly is there? We all see it happening. Now, we might get an upset. I'm going to say that again. We might get an upset. But what are the odds? See you on the next.